Yeah. So welcome. And I wanted to share with you, I went to the Gaia event this weekend, and here comes Carlene. Carlene's coming for tonight. Awesome. Yeah, so I went to a event up at Gaia. They're headquartered out of Boulder. There's Carlene. Hey, girl. So good to see you. Zoom can do everything. Like, we got the lipsticks, we got the eyebrows going on. I wish we could do a virtual hug, It was so nice to see people this weekend in person. I just really loved it. But there were some super great quotes. And so kind of as a filler, just to see if anybody else has a chance to hop on, I wanted to share a couple of my favorite quotes that came there. We had all kinds of different speakers, Miriam Williamson. And so the quote I took from her is, "Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learn." And that's so important, like the work Christy and I do of going back and helping all this stuff that we're fearing, all the ways in which we think we're inadequate, all of these are learned behaviors. So we're going to talk about that in a bit. Another one of my favorite cast of characters was Michael Bernard Beckwith. Was Saturday night, and he had this to say. He's the reverend at a church in California. It's called Agape, which actually Christy might not be too far from. He had this to say about women as we step into power, into more of our personal leadership. Our society will evolve on the powerful energies of women who love themselves and are powerful enough to be themselves. I'm like, shazam. That's a good one.
Did you say that again?
Yeah, it's bears repeating. Our society will evolve on the powerful energies of women who love themselves and are powerful enough to be themselves.
Again. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
I'll email it out. How's that?
Oh, thank you. Yes. That's a good one. Wow. Thank you.
That's a doozy. Yeah. And then the last one is from Anita Borajani, and it was so juicy. I had to write it down because I kept reading it over and over. So I'm going to pop on my slideshow here. Tell me if you can see that okay. And the nice thing, ladies, this is going to be, since it's just a nice intimate group for us, open up the chat. Feel free to chat away or jump off mute. Like this is time for us to come together and I really want to gift you the biggest, most transformative experience that we can have here. So if this doesn't set it up, I don't know what does. But Anita Morajani is a international, she speaks all over the place now. She had a near-death experience with a cancer that basically took her out. She goes over on the other side and starts the review of her life and recognizes just how many of her own personal choices were made in fear. So even the healthy ones, like I'm going to eat lots of vegetables, all those were in fear to getting cancer, which ironically happened. But this is, so she wrote the book and many others now, but the original book was Dying to Be Me. So we don't realize that we were actually perfect just the way we are. We are born perfect, but spend a lifetime trying to be something we are not. And then we feel inadequate for failing. Your only purpose is to be yourself. Otherwise, you will deprive the universe of who you came here to be. Sam. Wow. Isn't that juicy? And it's kind of, it's kind of the perfect segue for what we're going to be talking about, because I truly believe if we kind of boil it down to one sentence, there's consciousness is rising. And so we're able to shift energy. I think everybody here is super gifted already with recognizing how our thoughts become things and how important it is for us to become masterful with the thoughts and emotions and understanding how those are impacting our life. But that's what the big, bold, spring into your big, bold, beautiful life is all about. When we can get intentional with what it is that we want to experience, then we can do anything. And there's a movement, we've got consciousness that's rising. There's all these things happening. It's like the perfect convergence. There's a shift into this divine feminine way of being for us women, stepping into our power. And that's where this call for authenticity, to come into play. And that's part of what we'll be doing today, is looking at some of those things that up until now have been in kind of like the norm of how we show up, and those things that need to be maybe taken off the front shelf, the ways in which we've tied into the way society would like us to be. And so then we've got the pandemic, and all these other waves were happening already. And then the pandemic came along and kind of put urgency around a lot of our own personal seeking for meaning, or it helped us if we were hoping to let go of the perfectionism. It's like, wow, here comes the pandemic. And if that didn't fall away, I don't know what did. But all these other things, think about all the things that kind of chipped away during the pandemic for you. So to me, it's not a movement in and of itself, but it certainly escalated the things that we're already calling on our hearts to do. So anyways, I think you all know me. I'll just do a quick thing, but I'm a transformational life coach. My big passion, my big, bold, beautiful life is escorting women into this new realization of what it means for us to, especially in our 50s, to step into our own power, express more authentically who we are, releasing all the old garbage, those things that no longer belong to us, so that we can live whole and with a sense of embodiment and peace. And so I use the emotion code as one of my primary tools, but all kinds of different tools to kind of unhook from some of that stuff, because it's truly time for us to step up in our leadership role in the world. If the world needs the gifts that women have right now, it needs us to be able to come from a place of unity and collaboration and kindness and compassion and justice and these feminine qualities. And so you don't have to aspire to step into government or anything. We all have our own individual callings on our life. And so it can be just being the best matriarch in your family as you could possibly want. Or, we've got a couple career ladies here, let's do our good work in the world through our business and channel that goodness, those spiritual gifts that we've been given in through us and out as an expression through our business. And that's how we become actualized. So anyways, that's me in a nutshell. And so just to kind of review of the 3 takeaways that I had promised when we came in, we're going to be talking about, and now my thingies, we're going to go through a couple different experiential things, because my big thing, you see a lot of coaches have rushed to put their programs online, and all this digital learning is not the way we necessarily learn. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but until you get to the point where you're actually ready to incorporate it in the way that you're showing up, then all the knowledge is not going to get you there. So I tend to go from the other end of the spectrum. I love my friend Liz. She says when the world is zigging, oftentimes it's time for us to zag. So we're going to be zaggers tonight, and we're going to go for the experience. So, yeah. Woo! Hey, zaggers, unite. and that is one of the things, can't we be bold enough to do things that we know work for us rather than following the masses? So anyways, it's time for us to move into more of an experiential thing. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. I've got the first one is the intention. We'll be talking first a little bit about what it means to understand your purpose and align with your gifts and talents. And then I'm going to take you through, and I'm bummed because Andrea was going to be here tonight, but she got caught up in some traffic. So she's going to wait, because I told her it's a closed eyes visualization. This is not do it in the car kind of a thing, but she is the one. I have a program that I'll tell you about at the end of this all, but if you're interested and you're ready to just continue into all the juiciness, La Femme Salon, it's a 10-week program. I call it's 10 weeks to find your fire, freedom, and fulfillment. And it is a juicy one, I have to say. I've taken 3 groups through it so far, and it just keeps getting better and better as it evolves. And it's all about helping us women to align with the feminine qualities that are coming in, aligning with the way that we are, releasing that stuff that no longer belongs, so that we can step in more powerfully and then create those practices, like start living that heaven on earth today. We've got so much to be grateful for right now, and the Ukraine is a stark contrast for us all to be in super appreciation for the things that we do have available to us. So we'll go through that. So that's step 1, is kind of like the purpose thing. Then a step two, I'm going to do, and this is a quickie, but a good one, about identifying what your personal block has been up until now. And then, yeah, if only I could remember what the third one was. We will, let's see. Oh yeah, the manifesto. We're going to create our own manifesto. Have any of you done this before? Done a personal manifesto? It's fun because through the conversation, you'll have awarenesses of kind of like the contrast. It's like we mentioned perfectionism already. So that's one of the things that it's like, as I like to say, it's so 2020. Like, be thinking about those things that is just so 2020 for you. What are the things, the ways of being, the old habits, maybe there's old people or whatever that roles that you've been serving up until now that don't serve the bigger vision of who you want to be next. Because every moment to moment, we have this ability to choose. And if that's not the greatest gift, that's why they call it the present, right? We have the present to be able to choose. Imagine what it is that you would like to be experiencing next. And I would like to challenge you to stretch what that vision might be. Like I said, the world needs us right now. So for us to take that vision, stretch it, and think about how that impacts other people in your life, how it impacts you long term, but think bigger, because the world truly needs the gifts that only women can bring. So there we are. Let's dive in. Let's see what's next. Nope. What's next is me trying to figure out how to advance the slides when I'm in here. There we go. Here's another quote for you. I kind of adapted it for my own beings, because everything that we're doing is made up in our mind. So I like to say, if you're going to be making up stuff, you might as well make up stuff that works for you. So this is one, I love this little quote: tired of trying to cram her sparkly star-shaped self into society's storyline of pandemic, separation, scarcity, and fear. That's the part I improvised. She chose to embrace her ridiculous awesomeness and shine like the freaking supernova she was meant to be. So I should have a little magic wand, but I would like to deem you all supernovas tonight, which makes me a supernova maker. So I just got a raise too. But again, what are the identities we're making up for ourselves, and are they serving you or not? How many roles have we been dragging along because that's the way we've always been doing it? And are there new roles that we want to take on? It's like, okay, I'll have that one, please. And kind of did the intro, but this is the big, bold, beautiful life. And let's see, is there anything on there? We'll be talking about the law of attraction quite a bit tonight. And I don't mind this last bit here, being your guide to owning your ageless, most powerful self. To me, when we align with our purpose and what brings us fully alive, the body is listening to all the thoughts in our head. And so when we are in creative expression of those higher callings, the body is going to be enlivened. And as long as you're fueling it properly, allowing it, got my water right here, and you're resting properly. Kari and I know quite a bit about sleep right now. We're in a class together called Optimize.me, and yeah, the guy's number one self-care habit is sleep. So and that's kind of like one of those feminine qualities too, like that masculine way of constantly pushing. That is 2020, trust me. And so for us to begin to come into this natural rhythm of life, which women are just so naturally, we have the monthly cycles, we have birthing cycles, we have all these different ways of being. For us to come back into more of an honoring of that ebb and flow, if you will. There's times of creation and there's times of rest. And so we do it on a nightly basis. We want to power up for sure by making sure that you're getting deep, solid rest, but also think about the word would be ultradian rhythms that are more like the natural cycles in your days, your weeks, your months. And we'll be getting into a little bit more of that. But how many people think that they manifest everything between, if it's to choose between your mind or your heart, where do you think we're manifesting from? Shout it out. All right, we'll go for the heart. So tonight we're going to invite our mind that's been so busy taking good, really, really great care of us. We're pretty darn smart by these days, and it's been working overtime. So just think about allowing the mind to step aside, because tonight we want to take this big journey from the head right into the heart space. What I love about being here in this alive these days, this in these days, I guess, is that science is starting to catch up with some of the things that we knew to be true. There's a heart math agency that put these numbers around this aspect, this concept of heart coherence. And so what they're recognizing is the heart actually is much more important as an organ in our bodies. It has memories, it has all kinds of receptor cells that they didn't recognize before. And for heart coherence, what that means is to relax, allow this stressful mind to step aside long enough that we can recharge with these moments of heart coherence, to allow, just as the word would imagine, instead of an erratic, heartbeat-esque vibration, we want to bring our heart into smooth coherence so that we can be cool and calm even when there's chaos outside of us. And I hate to say, but chaos is not going to be going away anytime soon. This is the new state of the world, if you will. And for us to come into new relationship with what chaos is, chaos can actually be the point of creation. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But for us to be able to get to this space where we do mindful breathing, or we create these practices for ourselves. But the one I want to share right now, and I do this with all, anytime I'm doing individual sessions or whatever, but the heart coherence from Heart Math. And I love that they put the research around these numbers, that we're electromagnetic beings. And so the brain is actually 60 times, or I'm sorry, the heart is 60 times stronger electrically than the brain is, but it's 5,000 times stronger magnetically.
Whoa.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And I don't know how they measure that, but actually, we are electromagnetic beings. And you think of EKGs and EEGs, all of that stuff is beginning, so much science is coming out with that. And, Dr. Joe Dispenza doing all this amazing work, studying the changes that can happen within the physical body. Our bodies are miracles, and they know how to heal if we can just stop overly, piling on the stress and the toxins and things like that. Be kind to our bodies, give them what they need. We've got a miracle right inside. And for us to find the guidance in our life is going to come right from the heart. So if we're looking to, talk about law of attraction and magnetizing, attracting things to us, we want to do that when we're in a heart space. And so this is one of the practices. It's sort of like a yoga practice, or, anything that would be a meditation practice. Like, this is not about perfection, but we do want to work each and every day in some type of practice that brings us into a heart space where we can be open, receptive to the intuition that's coming. And that is one of the feminine gifts that the world needs right now, is for and women being more intuitive than men generally, is that it's so important for us to be able to quiet this tickies in the brain long enough that we can hear the calling of the heart. Because when we're aligned with that intuition, we know what to do. There's different words for it, like following your gut, that gut feeling, those, we all kind of sense a little bit differently. But if we can find moments to come back into that heart space, it's powerful. So the first one I wanted to do, and actually, let's see who we're doing, is just talking. I'm going to go right into a visualization, and then we're going to talk about it. So one of my gifts is to guide people kind of like on an energetic journey, if you will. Almost, I don't know if I was a shaman in a previous lifetime or what, but for us to be able to get a felt sense in our bodies, because our body is almost like the intermediary between the universe or God or source, whoever your infinite intelligence is, that you call it from the outside. Our body is constantly communicating to us that which is being gifted to us. And so the more that we can be open, receive those messages, or if we're getting messages like, uh-oh, I've got, knee pain, what is the knee trying to tell us? Oftentimes the body's signaling us with different symptoms, which is actually a signal for where we are out of balance. But the visualization, it's going to be kind of tied to the heart math. So heart math is, I'll explain this real quick, but I'm going to take us right into the visualization as we do the heart math, because what heart math is just simple, taking some deep breaths. It actually helps if you put your hand on your chest, maybe sit up a little straight, take those nice deep breaths. We tend to get caught up in the upper body, the breathing in the chest, allow the breath just to begin to sink down towards that navel. Nice, deep centering breaths. And you'll see how quickly when you put your awareness where your hand is in that heart space, think of something that brings you joy. With each deep breath, going deeper and deeper, allowing that awareness of joy to expand, filling your heart. You might feel a sensation like a temperature. Is it warm? Is it cool? Is it light, expansive? Taking another breath. You can see already, and just that simple breathing right there would be what's considered a heart math breathing. But I want to take us on a little journey because we're here to discover what our big, bold, beautiful life would look like if we met it face to face. So I'm going to invite you on a little visualization. Imagine walking outside. There's a little meadow. The meadow is gorgeous. It's spring. You see new life popping up everywhere, the fresh grass. Walk across the meadow, looking at all the beautiful flowers that are popping up. Hearing that there's a creek kind of off the way. The creek catches your attention, that beautiful babble. Head towards the creek. You can smell the scent of spring. It smells so fresh as you head towards that beautiful babbling brook. And here, as you get there, there's a blanket, and the blanket just calls to you. So imagine walking over to this blanket and having a seat. As soon as you do, you feel at home with it. And yet the blanket elevates and it begins to fly. You know, you're on an adventure. We're heading up, up, up. We're going through the clouds, soaring up above the clouds. The sun is shining so brightly. I wonder where we're going. There's excitement, eagerness to learn where we're headed. Flying along, looking at the birds, looking at the sun. It's a glorious day. Imagine now the blanket begins to descend. Down you go, down you go. Landing in front of a residence. It's a beautiful place. It's kind of like what you would dream. Like, what's your dream house for a residence? It is that place. It's got that feeling. It feels so warm, just even looking at it from the outside in. As you get up from the mat, your carpet, you're eager to see who lives here. It feels so welcoming already. Walk up to the door, see your hand as you knock on the door. The door opens immediately. On the other side it's you, 3 years into the future. This is an embodied you living in your dream home. There's an immediate rush. She's been waiting for you. She knew you were coming. She invites you in. The handshake becomes a warm hug. She's got a small table over by the beautiful window. So much nature around. Place is amazing. Take a look around as she walks you over towards this table. Take in all the features of this amazing house, everything you would have dreamed for. Sit down at the table. She's got tea. And she's open. You're open to chatter. She says, ask me anything. So take just a moment and in your mind's eye, have a conversation. Ask her your question. The answers come instantly, almost telepathically delivered right instantly into your heart and mind. You've got your first answer. Take the second, ask a second question. Again, the answer seems to come in a complete delivery of the entire concept all in once. Now you've got a third question for her. What would you ask if you could ask yourself anything? Again, the answer comes. And knowing that our time is short, take in any last thing. Is there anything more you would like to ask her? Is there anything more you would like to take in about how she looks, what the place looks like, who else is there? The wisdom, the knowing is there. Anything you ask, all the questions are answered. Again, it's like the visit is already complete. So you stand up and walk towards the door. She gives you a big, big, adoring hug. As you reach to open the door to walk outside, she calls you back one more time. She walks over and places a gift in your hand. Take a look at this gift. Give her another hug. It's the perfect gift. As we walk outside, head back to your rug. It's there waiting for you. You're filled with love, eagerness, joy as it takes off, flying up, 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 into the clouds. Same sunshiny day, crazy birds flying around. It's pretty fast carpet, so we're coming on down, landing back nice softly into your meadow, your springtime meadow. Here we are. Get up, walk on back to your seat now. Embracing what an amazing travel this has been. Okay. Take a nice centering breath and come on back when you're ready. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. You might want to jot down a couple things to jog your memory about what came up for you. Would anybody care to share what did?
I'll share. I went into the future and I was in a studio, and the windows were like huge. They were like almost the whole side of the building, and just kind of cluttered with, there's a table and there's paints and, I have a studio in our house and everything's like crammed in boxes and stuff. And it just seemed like everything kind of was spread around. But yeah, the backyard was just, green and, it was like a beautiful landscape kind of backyard, not big, but yeah, lots of green and color, lots of colored flowers. So that was fun.
Yeah, it's amazing how much can get downloaded quickly. It's maybe 7 minutes that we kind of took some time. Anybody else want to share?
I'll share, Kathy.
Okay, I'd love that.
I had this beautiful vision that brought tears to my eyes of this home with a pool in the backyard. Never thought I wanted a pool, but it was so pretty. I do now. And very lush. And again, not a big backyard, but big enough where there was tons of trees around. But the best part was I had a pizza oven outside and my niece and nephews were over and we were making pizzas, homemade pizzas. And my whole heart just and chest just felt so warm and so loved. And it was amazing. It's really quite beautiful.
Isn't it amazing? And it's so cool because, like you said, things that are completely like never been on my radar before, a pool, who, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, yeah. And then this is one of the first things that I take women through in La Femme Salon. So I just wanted to share, because we can get an energetic imprint from this future self of ours that we're looking to become or experience the things. And so I'm going to, I wish Andrea here or here tonight so you could hear it directly from her, but she took that experience and really, she said, before I left, she grabbed the future self's hand. She's like, you're coming with me. So she basically like just kind of like took her with, and she really, 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 every time she came to a decision, she used her future self. And so you can imagine when Andrea came here, she actually was my roommate, but she entered La Femme Salon and she had just moved here. She needed to build her massage practice. So that was number one. She wanted to experience true love. She wanted to get her old body back, that more lean body, and she wanted to start painting again. So those were the four big things, and they were all four pretty big things from where she was coming. And she took this on, and the craziest of things happened. Her practice she's amazing anyway. So that was beginning to roll. And then she had an opportunity to go to this networking and found that it was a dating site. And so it was one of these high priced things. So here she is making this transition, had been divorced. So she was kind of on her own financially. And then this opportunity for this dating thing comes on. It's $9,000 for a 3-year commitment for this dating site. And she's like, are you crazy? No way, I'm out of here. And her future self tapped her on the shoulder and said, this is how I did it. And so she turned around and handed her a credit card, not knowing anything, but having faith because of that inner knowing. And that's the thing about intuition. It bridges like beyond what you think, you want, or you got desire. It's like, it's in your bones. It's like, I know, like, I just know Liz is going to have an outdoor pizza kitchen, that we can declare that this is something we're knowing. And so she knew it, and she met a man. It was kind of funny because she wasn't completely ready to dive into this, but she met a man, got married. He has a pool in his backyard. They swim all the time. She's got her old body back. She's started painting again. Her practice, not only is it full to where she wants it, but she got back to her true calling, which is Watsu, which is a very highly specialized water healing technique that she does. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. So this is 2.5 years ago, and she literally is the woman that she saw in that vision. And so it's cool because remember when you first laid eyes on your future self, what characteristics would you say about her? And it's uncanny, but oftentimes we're talking about, she's like radiant. She's really calm. There's a sense of like peace and calm. And like Kari, even though there might be, lots of stuff there, there's just like a inner, I don't know, something good happening on there. She's like self-aware of herself and confident in who she is. And it's just pretty darn cool. Carlene, do you want to chime in with anything?
I love that visualization. I've been kind of visualizing my dream house for a long time. And, but like walking through, like it got very specific, like, what am I looking at? What am I seeing? How is the layout? All that kind of stuff. And I actually went outside for the tea. It was sitting outside. And, I could just see, because I wanted an acre or two. And so you could just see all the land. But one thing that surprised me, my dream house will have room for gatherings, like a really big family room, just room for people to gather, and that I can hold, events and that kind of stuff. And one thing I loved about my grandparents' house is they had this closed-in sunroom. And when I stepped outside, I looked, and there was this huge closed-in sunroom, which is nothing I had ever really visualized for my house before. And so it just like expands the space, but it also expands the space into outside so that you can even experience outside when it's, the weather is not favorable. You can still, see the beauty of the outside and be, in a enclosed space. So that was kind of fun. I had never really seen that before. And just, and the reason I have that space is because I have, people to fill it with for all kinds of things.
Yeah. And it's cool because you get the felt sense of what it feels like to have everybody in that room. That connection is so important for you, and the laughter and the love and the, it's an amazing way to calibrate right into what it is that you're calling in. And so I like to me, that's what vision boards would be a tool then to reinforce this. I think sometimes we try to force it from the outside in of finding the images out here. And it's like, oh, it's so much more. And this heart coherence thing, it's 5,000 times stronger magnetically. So now that you've got that in your heart, how is it that you can create a trigger or a reminder or a practice to ground in that vision every day? And so one of my goals when I work with women is to, like, it's manifestation, but in an accelerated way. And this is the way. This is the way. It's the being. We've been into the good at the doing, and that's kind of that masculine doing, that push energy to make it happen. We've been operating in a masculine fashion, which is not natural for us. And when we can come back into alignment from a heart space and create from the inside out, it happens so much quicker and across the board, whether it's relationships or the house or the travel or the impact you want to have on the world, or the healing you would like to see in your own body, or maybe the body that kind of drifted away, but it's like, I'm making a new commitment because I just got this felt sense of what my body looks like. I'm radiant, I'm healthy, I'm vitality, that's my word. So anyways, just while we're here, so that's the visualization. I love that little image. So I love this. Anyone remember who that is? Dr. Doolittle. Yeah, so this is the push me pull you. And so it's like, okay, now we got the feeling. It's like, what are, as Kari would know, Brian, who leads our group, we look for the obstacle. Now, what would keep us from being able to be in the resonance of that which we want? That's the ideal. We want to stay there. We want to be able to visualize that and tap into that felt sense every day. This, to me, kind of served as a great visual of the metaphor of what's going on, why we don't manifest the things that we set our sights on. And that's this push me, pull you thing that we've got going on between our minds and our hearts. And the mind is an amazingly powerful thing that, unfortunately, it's one of our primary roles is for protection. And so we have kind of a negativity bias, which has been super great when we were cavemen and evolving up until recently to keep us safe is, so you're not thinking about the pizza party while there's a saber-toothed tiger coming. You want something to keep you safe, but we have evolved so far beyond that. And life is happening so quickly that those natural tendencies no longer serve us. And so for us to be able to, when triggers come up, for us to go back into the heart space and calibrate into who we are now, all the good that we got right now and where we want to go. And I was laughing because the push me pull you is a great thing. You've got the tug to be safe, and yet you've got the heart's desire to express. Or I'll get another quick story. When I was a kid, I kind of understood the power of the subconscious mind, or the fear mind that's running. So they say, science is saying that 95% of the thoughts that we're thinking are harbored in the subconscious. We have about 80,000 thoughts on a daily basis. 90% to 95% of them are the same thoughts we had yesterday. And of those, 80% of them have a negativity bias, something that's fear-based in order to keep us safe. So there is some usefulness in that. And the mastery for us is to step into the bringing the unconscious to the conscious so that we can make aware choices of, does this serve me or does this not? It's sort of like, you know, we get to Marie Kondo, our brains, our thoughts, our feelings, you know, does this serve where I want to go next? And women, we're super good at judging ourselves. So we judge ourselves for all those stupid feelings we've been dragging along. But what if we didn't have to go to judgment? We just come to a point, a choice point in this moment right now. Does this serve me or does it not? And it's as simple as that. We don't have to rehash the story of where it came from or why we had it. That's the old victim thing. We're elevating to be conscious creators of our lives. So I was laughing about this picture in my own mind, because I'm thinking, well, if the subconscious is 95%, and that's, you know, kind of like the storehouse for a lot of the negative feelings that would pull us away from this ideal vision that we just created, then this little push me pull you would have a head on one side that's 95% and the other head would be a little head, the heart head that is only 5%, the aware head that's aware. But anyways, you get the concept that we're constantly in this pushy pull you, and that's where things like procrastination or just feeling confused, like what am I here to do? It actually has served us to some point. But when we get clear, let go of those things that are those safety factors or the old roles, let those go so that we can get in touch with what our heart's calling for now. Yeah, that's how we tap into that future vision that we want to create and bring that alive. So in the Femme Salon, my trilogy, if you will, actually, is it? Oh yeah, there it is. The magic trifecta for transformation is that we want to get our vision clear, which we kind of tapped into the feeling of that. We want to make sure that it's big and expanded, because a lot of us, especially women, we picked up old, you know, storylines, and you think about these storylines of us not being good enough or not deserving or not lovable enough. So we, you know, like that quote that I shared with Anita Morajani. So we become things that we're not, and then we spend so much energy trying to prove that we're that. It's like, but that was never us in the first place. So when we can kind of parse aside and say, this is my vision, this is what I want to make sure that it's big enough. We want to be juicy enough. We want, if, you know, God is our source of creation, he wants to have fun and create big things and do wonderful things. He's unlimited. He's got unlimited perspective as well. Able to bring these elements together, everything that we could want, and for us to get fired up by that vision. And the next thing on the right is to release, like we've been talking about. And then that third pillar is about nourishing. Nourishing to me means nourishing our thoughts, putting in the good thoughts, the feelings. Obviously, the body is a good bit of that. We want to move, we want to sleep, we want to get that energy aspect of it nailed down. But nourish also is about acknowledging ourselves for all the amazing woman that you are today. Hello, look at all the things you've survived, you've learned. We come into this wise woman stage that we are in our 50s, and like, this is the best ever, right? So nourish yourself, but it also comes with beginning to acknowledge all the ways in which your ideal life is showing up already. And so we actually have a part of the brain, the reticular activating system, and that's the one that's looking for the pattern. So like if your friend, you know, your friend's daughter gets pregnant, now you've got it in your brain, and now everywhere you go, you see pregnant ladies, or you decide somebody wants a Tesla, and so you look around and now Teslas are everywhere. There's that part of your brain that works the same for your dream. So if you set your goal on, I'm having a pizza kitchen, now Liz is going to start seeing, you know, Google probably just heard us talking about it, so it's probably going to send her some advertisements, but the universe is kind of like Google in a way. It's going to start popping in some little bird seeds showing you like, oh, go this way, little whispers of turn left, because she's going to meet a pizza guy, you know, the installer dude over there, or, you know, maybe create something that begins to lead us in that.
You know, Kathy, that's actually a really good visual of how the RAS works. You know, you talk about something, your phone picks it up and it starts showing you all the things you talk about.
Isn't it funny?
That's actually a really good analogy.
Yeah, and you know, so the thing is that we'll never manifest anything that we don't believe that we can have. And so our brain has a negativity bias. So it's always looking for all the reasons in which it's not safe to move in that direction. But if we begin to use it consciously to look for all the ways to affirm why I'm having it, why I'm deserving of having it, why I'm capable and nobody better in the world to have, for me, I want my business to explode this year. Nobody better in the world for me to take this message out in my own special way than me. The more you begin to affirm it, the more you look, the more you'll find, and it begins a momentum in the direction of your dreams. And so that's the structure we kind of need to surround ourselves, because there's lots of negativity around us. Even our friends and family that you would think to be the inner circle, oftentimes they don't understand intentional manifestation, if you will, so we have to, you find someone like a Kari who's on the other, she's in Virginia, I'm in Colorado, but she's, my support in affirming that this is what I'm having, and we celebrate. And that's part of, like in La Femme Salon, every week we bring those shares and we celebrate. Woo, it's happening. And that excitement, we infuse excitement, we infuse feeling onto that vision so that this momentum begins to happen. And that's how the accelerated manifestation continues to happen. Anybody else have anything to chime in before we got Eternal Sunshine. Wow, that's a nice name. Somebody is joining us. So let me see if I can get this to forward. Anybody know Brene Brown? Anyone not absolutely love Brene Brown? So this is, I love the little visual here. And it's kind of funny because I had created something and then I found this. It's so colorful that I use hers now. But this is Guideposts for living your wholehearted living. So I like that saying of how we want to guide our life from this heart space. And so on the left-hand side, here's all the things we're letting go of. Here's the things we're cultivating. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so we can read it a little bit more. But these are the things like we were talking about at the beginning of this. What are the things that are just like 2020? We're just going to let those things go. And if this list doesn't hit it, and feel free to chime in with your others, because this is going to be the foundation for your manifesto. So a lot of times we get clarity by the things that we know we don't want, right? I have been on some dates that were kind of like that. It's like, wow, do I have clarity about some of the traits that I don't want in my ideal guy? So this is the same kind of thing. So on the left-hand side of the guidepost to wholehearted living, we've got things like, and women, we're so addicted to what other people think. Perfectionism, numbing and powerlessness, scarcity and fear, the need for certainty. Was that one question and challenge during the pandemic? Your need for control. How about comparison? I'm a good one at that. Exhaustion as a status symbol. That one feels like we've already moved pretty well beyond it. I think the big timeout really squashed that one. How about anxiety as a lifestyle? That one's going to be important right now because the world's going to continue to change and things are changing faster than we've ever experienced. And so it's our quest to come into new relationship with uncertainty. So anxiety as a lifestyle is one that's going to be hot and heavy. Self-doubt and all the supposed tos. And the control mechanism is on top of the bottom one. So I can't read that one. But on the right is what we want to step into. So this is going to be the cue up for our manifesto. The right-hand side. So, and this is like one of the key laws or principles about law of attraction. It's like, think about only that which you want to attract. Because again, our brain instantly goes to all the story of why we can't or why we shouldn't or the why nots. It's like, no. We want to create laser-like focus. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, burning desire. We're going to get this vision so crystal clear, burn it into our heart, it becomes a burning desire. So I'm going to read through these right-hand ones on the right-hand side, and then we're going to take just a moment for you to scribe a little bit about what it is of your manifesto, of some of the things that you're going to call in. Now that you got your future self sitting right here, right by, you know, on your right-hand side, she's going to be whispering in your ear. Maybe there's a, some other values, there's some core ways that she showed up that you're like, I'm going to have that. But this is a great food for, you know, thought as you consider what your attributes might be. So we've got authenticity. So from being, can you imagine making that great shift from being concerned what other people think or how we tend to show up based on how we think they need us to, versus just what works for you? Who are you? You know, maybe you're crazy and outlandish and you want to start learning to play the ukulele again. You know, what is authenticity for you? From perfectionism into self-compassion. Self-compassion. How about moving from numbing into a resilient spirit? Or for me, I know my future self, she's radiant. Like she is so self-anchored. So I like resilient, but I like radiant as well. About gratitude and joy, intuition and trusting faith. Sounds like Kari's got some creativity coming up in the future. Carlene's going to be playing with having people over in her new place, but you know what, to what degree have you allowed play in your life up until now? And is there room for quite a bit more of that? And right along with that play is rest, coming back into, again, instead of always being in that overcommitted state, you know, what does rest and coming back into rhythm look like? What is calm and stillness? I think everybody here, would you say your future vision, even though there might have been parties or the pizzas coming out of the oven, there's still yet a sense of order, a calmness, a stillness, a peace, right? Isn't that funny? And then meaningful work might be another one. And again, I can't see the last one. So it looks like something dance. Mine's going to have dance in it.
Laughter, song, and dance.
Ah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And actually, here's a manifesto I made up for La Femme Salon. So this is an example of how now you take some of those attributes and just put them into personal declarations. So this is your declaration to the universe or the world or to God of how I'm showing up now. So to own your true, and you can say, I'll use me so that I'm not pointing the finger. It doesn't sound like I'm telling you what to do. Own my true value and worthiness. Prioritize myself and practice radical self-care. Honor my cravings of all sorts. You know, if I've got a craving to go mountain biking, I'm doing it and I'm eating with gusto. How about feel confident and vibrantly alive in my body? Get into divine feminine flow with gratitude, ease, and joy. How about work less and earn even more? Anyone would like that? Dive into adventure and travel. Love your freedom and creative expression. Release everything that no longer serves you. Dream big, follow your passion, find your fulfillment. Surround yourself with amazing women like the ones on this call right now that become like soul sister friends. They see you and what's truly on your heart that you look to manifest next. And then get flirty and fun in romance. And again, I'm not going to be able to read the last one, but being fully conscious, living fully in the now. So anyways, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes just to begin jotting that down, and don't feel like you need to get it all complete and perfect right now, because I assure you it'll continue to unfold, but you'll be able to dive into quite a bit of it right now. So we'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, and just take a couple more moments to wrap that up. It's kind of interesting as a practice though, because in just an hour, I don't know about you, but we can actually dive in and come up with some pretty deep declarations. And to me, one of the most remarkable things is when you look at this list, there's nothing here that isn't already you. There's nothing here that you have to learn anything for, effort a whole lot more for. It's not that driving doingness. It's more of a sense of beingness. And that's what I want to invite us all into. Imagine, if you had this. So I keep mine. It's in my bathroom. And I created a 3-piece vision board so that I could put pictures and images because our brain thinks in images. I did it on Canva, by the way, because there's so many more versus the old way of doing vision boards with pictures out of magazines. I always felt like you were kind of like at the whim of whatever magazine pictures you could find. But if you go on Canva, you can search. So I've got my manifesto and I've got 3 vision boards in my bathroom so that when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, fresh brain is pretty clear. I can ground into this and I've got the images to reinforce what my intentions are. And so I do this, and it's so important to not only visit this vision of what your future self is showing up as and having, but also then to provide the support around yourself in order to do that. But you can see when you ground into this, how when you wake up, it's like, oh yeah, I am on my way to having that. And what if you had that future vision in 2 or 3 years? Like, how exciting would that be? Anyone? Kari, do you want to say anything about what you came up with for your manifesto?
Yeah, I mean, it was fast. I mean, it was like, wow, I was just writing because I have a lot to say. So, but I just, share my meaningful life experiences to benefit others. Find the joy of sharing, be my authentic self, let my creativity shine and flow with beautiful colors. A radiant testimony, trusting God and basking in peace, and honoring others to shine, to express my love for the journey that they are on. Feel confident in my work. Just honor self, I think, is a big one. And family. Connect with family. But yeah,
Hey,
just,
girl, that's some
Yeah,
potent
sorry.
stuff.
so
Yeah.
it's good.
And honestly, there's not one of those that you're not already in the stages of being. It's like, okay, now that I'm aware of that, I'm going to have more of that. I'm going to trust in God more. I'm going to invite creativity. I'm going to clear out the space for that art stuff, so that I can get to that again, right? It's pretty powerful stuff. So, and like you said, it drops out, we think it's dropping out of our heads, but it's been hidden away in our hearts. It's like, we just
Right.
need to give it moment to emerge. But you can imagine how this serves as a blueprint, so that now when you go out and you begin making decisions and you come into something that's not bad, it's like, well, now it's an easy decision of like, no, why would I, like Liz and I talk about this a lot, like, what was it the other night? Oh yeah, the intention to get together with some girls to go for a paint party, which all of a sudden became a craft party, which came like hosting it and like all this stuff. I'm like, no. The decision became easy because I'm clear on what I wanted. I wanted a nice time out with friends being creative. So, the decisions become easy, and we get pulled off center less frequently, and we get to begin to ground in that, like the words you said, grounded in peace. There's a confidence that comes when we know what's for us and what's not for us. And you can see already the confidence that you have just reading through that. It's like, yeah, that's me. That's so like me, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of it's possible. So, that's the other thing is, like we said at the beginning, that one of the biggest things about what keeps us from manifesting is that we don't think that it's possible for us. It might be possible for other people, or we're working towards it, but it's like, no, we need to know that I'm the one who's having that, and it's a knowing in our bones. And so when you get that, you can manifest quickly. And how do I know that? So I know because I've taken women through this process before. And again, you've heard me mention La Femme Salon quite a bit, but I want to share with you an invitation, certainly, if anyone wants to dive in, but I just want to describe what I've created in this program. So whether you're called to join in with me or to go it alone, this is what is important, the elements in order to hold this structure in place. Well, here's the intention. So we're going to get clear on your biggest goals and the best path to achieving them. So you got a great taste of that tonight. Build the habits. So now we begin to move that from theory and dream into daily life. Like we get to begin living this on a daily basis. You create the structures that are going to support you in moving forward, the people around you, the practices that you get into every day, discover and heal some of those unconscious patterns, all that, the 95% that might have some old dust bunnies of the negative childhood planning, the thoughts that were seated in there. We want to kind of pluck some of those out and to be supported by someone who can take you through an energetic process like this, so that when you come to obstacles, which the obstacles are going to be there, the chaos is coming, how do we stand in ourselves and continue to move towards that which we most desire when times are off kilter? And then what you need inside and out, just so you know that this coming year is it's possible. It's happening. It's not only possible, it's already happening. So La Femme Salon is a small group immersion, and I take like 6 women, 8 women at a time, so that we're kind of vibrationally aligned. And to me, this is an energetic, it's kind of like elevating your vibrations, like the law of attraction, because you're going to attract that unto itself is the vibration that you're at. So we want to elevate your resonance so that you are on the same level of this future vision you just created. So the very first thing when change is happening is usually we require a change in thinking. So what I'm referring to here is actually a new paradigm of thinking. We align with the divine feminine, that natural way of being for us women. So we take the effort part of that out. When we're not efforting, now all that vital life energy that we were using with the proving and all the stuff, the old ways of being, now we can channel that into creative energy. So that shift and having that reinforced, because we tend to go back to our old habitual ways of being. So a change in thinking means an entirely new paradigm we're going to step into, to be surrounded again, those soul sister friends, and we're going to have all kinds of friends, but there's just recognize there's some in which you can entrust your future vision with, and then there's lots of others. So just to discern for yourself the ones in which you share. I was watching Dean Grazioni the other day. I don't know if you know him. He's Tony Robbins. He just did the thing with him. But Dean said his number one tip, even to like millionaires, he says, don't share your dreams with anyone, because so many people don't understand them, that oftentimes they're trying to keep you safe, as if the mind's not bad enough. Your friends are saying, like one of the girls that went through La Femme Salon, she went to visit St. Augustine. She had a beautiful house, beautiful life here, but it was time for change, and she fell in love with it and just up and sold her beautiful house here. And everybody's like, you can't do that. And she's like, oh yes, I can. And now she is living her dream life, that in St. Augustine, Florida. She met an amazing man. She's got what she calls swashbuckling friends. She retired early, and all of these things her friends said she couldn't do, and she's done it and living her dream life. So that's the kind of friends you want to serve. You want crazy friends that believe in the unseen and believe in you and support you through all that.
I almost think, Kathy, I met you so randomly, and yet I can share things with you. Sometimes it's easier to share stuff with a complete stranger than it is with your own family. Like you said, they're going to go, are you crazy? We know you're crazy, but now you're really crazy, but with strangers, you've got a whole new fresh market. They don't know how crazy you really are, but they can totally believe. And I think that for me, that has been so nice to be able just to share and say, gosh, I've been thinking about this, or, I'm kind of worried about this. And luckily, Kathy, you don't know my whole story. It's like, oh, you don't know that person, or I couldn't say that about that person to someone who knows that person, because, whatever. So it's really nice. I like that circle of friends that you don't know a lot about. I mean, you learn to support each other and to love them, but they don't know everything about. They don't know you since junior high, and thank heavens we've all changed since junior high. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think it's so important for women to come back into circle right now. I think it's a true calling for us, because that's just, again, one of our natural ways of being is in with communication and relationship with one another. And it's amazing to watch. It's so fun. One of my most gratifying thing is to watch the women come together, because a lot of us have been doing it alone. We've been that superwoman image that was kind of popularized like in the 90s. We had the kids, we had the jobs, when we were taking care of the man in the house and the everything. And it's like we kind of became like these lone rangers, and we're lonely, we're isolated. The pandemic, man, kind of amped that up. It's like depression for women, that the amount of antidepressants we're taking like went up. I don't know what it's something like 60%, like crazy stuff. So it's so important for us to come back together. And then the other thing that's happening, like all these convergences, the divine feminine, is so much of the collective story of the feminine is kind of like inherited old stories that we are breaking through. We're outgrowing. It's time for us to cast them aside. And yet what happens to us women, especially, but because we're coming from that Lone Rangers thing, we think that, the traumas that we had, a lot of women have had some kind of abuse one way or another, and to smaller, some big ones, but we've all had certain collective stories told to us, like the worthiness, whether we're lovable, whether we're too much, or maybe we're not enough, one of those things. And when we come together in circle and we share it, we've been keeping it to ourselves and trying to power through or hide it away. And that takes a vital life energy also. And we can come, Brene Brown, I just love her talking about shame. We hide that away, and it's like all it requires is bringing it to the light And when we can come into circle, a trusted circle like that, you know, the women aren't going to judge you. And all of a sudden it's like the last group that I had, we all had a similar, let's just say, trauma choice in our lives. And it's just uncanny the way, like you said, Kari, that we came together so randomly, but it like there's God's got it all figured out. So you come together and it's like, wow, we've recognized ourselves in one another. And all of a sudden it's like the shame story gets lifted to the light and it dissipates. It doesn't take anything grandiose about this healing or anything, just witnessing for one another what's going on in our lives for women. So freaking powerful right now. So make sure that you've got that element for yourself. What I've chosen to do as far as Welcome Salon is we come together twice a week, which I haven't seen any other program that does it. And again, a lot of these programs that the coaches are putting out right now, this is kind of like this is my zag. Everybody else is zigging. They're doing these big group programs, but it's like you never get individual time with those people. And to me, it's this energetic shift that needs to happen. I want to come in tight and support us while we grow up through. It's kind of like nurturing training a tomato plant. You know, you kind of have those supports, so as it grows it knows which way to head, and so that vibrational support we plug in twice a week. And so you've got the practices. Well, we do almost a vibrational, kind of like we did tonight with the attunement, so that it gets integrated into who and becomes who we are. So to me, that's super important. We do it twice a week. And then the other thing is this rhythm aspect. So we've got 2 integration weeks. So it's similar, Kari, like Brian did, of 2 weeks on, and then we've got a week to integrate, so that we're not constantly in this push and then you fall behind and then you feel, you know, it gives us a chance to judge ourselves again. We have time to breathe. In fact, I call them breathe weeks, but it's time for us to integrate. And then you get 2 individual sessions, energy sessions, so that we can go in, because we all have our own, I call it the pee under the mattress, you know, our own core wounds that happened. And so we want to make sure and go back to the very, and it's so cool right now, the work that actually Christy does too, that going back right now, so much of we've got childhood wounds, but we've got inherited wounds that can come from the parents, or we can have generational wounds that have been passed down. When I got to see Bradley Nelson this weekend, and he did a demo, and the woman's patterns are 10 generations back. So here we are thinking that we can shift something in this lifetime, in this situation, from where we are right now. And it's like, you're dragging an anchor that is way back there. And so if we can go back in and just kind of unhook that, and it can be so quick, but to me, I think it's fundamental. You can go into these big group things and come out the other side and still have your anchor in place. You're not going to be going any place quickly. And so again, I'm all about the accelerated manifestation. And then, like I said, you've got the weekly practices and handouts and things like that. So that's what my program is all about. It's I just adore it. And again, these are the elements that you want to build in your own environment. What did I put in here? That if you want to move towards that future vision that you just created, if you want to use that manifesto and start living it into today, that's what you want to do. So I essentially have an application process for this group, if you're anyone interested, only because I want to understand where you are and to make sure that everybody's at the same stage of readiness. When I make these group, they're very cohesive, and it's a tight-knit group. So that's the application, and we can stop the share. Awesome. And I seen any closing. That's it from me. Anybody want to chime in with anything on their manifesto or their thoughts? Or
Thank you for your expertise.
yeah, thanks for coming in and taking this time for you and taking time to support me. I appreciate that. We need each other. I wonder if Christy ever got her Verizon issues. Awesome. And Eternal Sunshine, are you there? Did you want to chime in and say hello? Although I can't say that I've ever heard Sunshine speak before, so I guess it would be appropriate. But
A couple of questions. When do they start? And how much is your cost?
So the next one will be coming together April 5th, and it's $997 with the two individual sessions.
Okay.
And a 10-week process with those 2 couple breathe weeks, so you don't have to feel under the gun like, oh wait, I don't have time.
All right. Okay, cool. This was great. Your background is beautiful.
Why?
And so is yours, Liz. Is that really your house? That's
It is not. It's a background I got on Google.
wow. I'm trying to hide the vacuum that's right here in my folder. Like
Keep one arm up like that.
that vacuum does not exist. That's because I've already vacuumed everything, you know. But
I'm
anyway,
gonna hop off, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Bye, Liz.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
that's great. Wow,
Thank
I
you.
just-
Thank you, Kathy.
I only got the tail end, but I'm a friend of Kari's.
Oh,
and-
hi.
Hi,
And my name is Huntley, but I've had some family stuff come up today and I only just got the tail end, but thank you so much.
Oh, good, good, good. I'm glad you popped in for a little bit then. Send you some good juju for your family situation to
Thank you.
I'll catch up with you later, Huntley.
Okay.
I'll catch up.
Okay, thanks, Kari.
Thank you, Kathy. I love
Great.
that visualization. It really kind of expanded my personal vision for my future and what I can create.
Yeah, you are an awesome girl. So
I
I
love
know
that.
you're capable of big things, and I love your vision that you're going to have space for everybody to come in and connect, and just connection's so important.
Yeah, yeah. And I've always enjoyed having, being that connector. But and one of the reasons we bought the house that we're in now was because of the space and how it was put together. And I'm looking forward to even more of that in the future. And it really expanded my thoughts a little bit. I was like, wow,
Yay.
that's kind of cool. Because, you kind of
having it,
visualize your
you're
house,
having it.
but yeah, like walking through it and getting a tour kind of, I was like, oh, okay.
I love it. I love it. And you're going
Um,
on vacation, huh?
Yeah, we're going to go see my mom and help her with some stuff around the house.
Nice.
So-
Where does she live?
She's in Utah.
Utah?
Mhm.
I want to go. Kari's got family, her daughter in Utah.
I've got lots of family out there. What part
Oh,
of
yeah.
Utah?
She's in West Jordan.
Okay, I
Yeah.
have a daughter in Sandy,
Oh, okay.
real close.
Yeah, my parents, when I graduated from high school, they moved to Grand Junction. And then when I got pregnant with my first child, they moved to Utah. I'm like, good timing.
So where are you?
I'm in Parker, Colorado.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice.
How about you?
I'm in Virginia, so
Oh,
I'm on
okay.
the other side, but
Yeah.
have people in Colorado, brother out there, and aunt and uncle that are in Highlands Park.
Okay.
Ranch.
That's up by
Yeah,
Parker.
Highlands Ranch.
Highlands
Yeah.
Ranch. that's it. So yeah, Colorado Springs, and yeah, lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
good. Well, I'm gonna hop
Well,
off, but
thank
thanks
you.
Alright.
Me too.
Yeah.
to
Thanks,
meet
ladies.
you, Carlene.
I got that. You
Bye.
too, Kari.
See you and your
Bye.
future self soon. Bye, Christy.